and this is part 5 of What's on My Walls. Welcome back. We're upstairs now, honing in on this mask from the country of Gabon and the Fang tribe, and a society inside the Fang tribe called the Nagil Society. They were kind of a policing organization meant to scare the daylights out of you with these and keep you on the straight and narrow. And this all came about because I was reading up on the artists in Paris, the early 1900s, and the pivotal moment when Picasso goes to the Trocadero Museum in Paris, followed eventually by Modigliani and others, and discovers African masks and African sculpture. And suddenly his art turns on a dime. And all this time we were told it was genius, when in finger quotes, it was being borrowed. You think time and place matters in art? This thing went north of 2 million euros a few years ago. And for a whole lot less than that, I scored this. Love it. So let's move back downstairs and push in on a couple of African sculptures. I spotted online Rwanda Madonna, and I loved it, and I bought it for next to nothing. And then a great adventure unfolded. All I could read at the base of the sculpture here was Rwanda 1961. Couldn't discern the signature. In my usual way, I thought to email certain places in Rwanda to see if they had any idea. But what are the odds? Hundreds of sculptors probably working wood in Rwanda. Most of them totally unknown. No chance. But online I found an art center in the capital of Rwanda, Kigali, and I emailed it, expecting nothing. 10 minutes later, a young art student pulling his weekend shift at this art center in Kigali emails me back. Sebukangaga. Check this out. And English is not his first language. But the story is clear. The guy's a legend in Rwanda. If you can give yourself a high five, I did. Jean-Baptiste Sebukangaga. He's in his 80s now, and he's made himself a wealthy guy. This is his hotel next to his little studio. Just one among many of his holdings. In researching Jean-Baptiste Sebukangaga, I kept coming across the name of Laurent Hategekimana, and pretty quickly came to the conclusion that if Sebukangaga was the star artist of the 20th century in Rwanda, this guy must be the star now in the 21st century. Hategekimana was invited to carve for the Rwandan Genocide Memorial Museum, and these are the pieces. And as I chose this piece, which is a modern takeoff on an African mask, I thought, this is something probably Picasso would approve of. Here he is in his studio with a couple of the things he's done. Just unbelievable talent. Laurent Hategekimana. Now as we go back downstairs and push in on this, I have a question for you. What did Denzel Washington and Cecily Tyson, Nelson Mandela, Princess Diana Charles, and Miles Davis have in common? In each of their visits to Zimbabwe, Africa, they've all been gifted a sculpture from Albert Mamvura. And this was my accidental introduction to Shona sculpture from Zimbabwe. And the hook here is, all of this abstraction in all of this Shona sculpture came about from a population who had no knowledge of what was going on as far as abstraction was concerned in Europe. They invented this utterly on their own. And if you ever find yourself passing through the Atlanta airport, take a few minutes and take the walk from Concourse A to Terminal T. Back in the 90s, Mayor Andrew Young acquired all of this Shona sculpture, and there's a long line of it between the terminals. Incredible. So, learning all this, I just had to have an example. And after looking for a while, there was Albert Mamvura sitting right there in my wheelhouse. Well, that's Africa, and that's part 5 of What's on My Walls. Stand by. We'll be back. Thanks.